years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We are back for another edition of Around the Shield, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We are going live on both our channels. Yeah, man.
Anything interesting happened today?
Man, I've been hearing some stuff from camp, just the normal stuff.
Okay.
But for real, man, we're gonna get into it, man. Christian Wilkins, obviously, everybody, if you haven't known, if you were under a rock somewhere, I don't know what was going on with you today.
Rock.
Yeah, man. If we're here to break it to you, Christian Wilkins, obviously, he's released. The Raiders released him today. They voided his contract a month ago. Or not his contract, his guarantees from his contract a month ago, June 4th. And today, Christian Wilkins filed a grievance. And obviously the Raiders made it official by releasing him. We'll get into that conversation, man. That's just, man, the Raiders they never disappoint when it comes to stuff like this, man. They will always keep it interesting. I don't know what it is about the team. I don't know if we'll get into it. We'll get into that conversation. We'll also get into training camp, the latest and greatest with that. We've heard a few things, some good things, some interesting things. We'll get into that conversation, man. We appreciate everybody pulling up. We got a great show lined up. Like I said, if you haven't already, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We see the night crew pulling up already. My guy Raider Pete. He says, can't have a player piss away $35 million from the sidelines. Doctors told the team he's going from PUP to IR to out for the season. Hurts, but this regime ain't playing. Okay. I guess that's one way to look at it. All right. I ain't mad at that. Donald says, so what are we going to do now? Roll with the players we have? And does his money go to our cap right away? Right now it's kind of complicated because he filed a grievance. They're still going through the process. They're going to go through an appeal process. There's going to be lawyers involved, and it could get ugly. The Raiders, from the Raiders' point of view, they're saying they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay any guarantees to this man because they feel like he didn't do anything. He didn't do what it took to get back on the field. And there's probably more to it than that too, as well. I don't know what he did during the recovery process, the rehab process.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy. Like I said, the Raiders always find a way to get in the news, man, for these types of reasons. The King of Mod in the building, man. Daniel Kim in the building. Appreciate you, my guy, man. Appreciate you coming through. Salute. I know, man. It is crazy. It is crazy. Man. But Kevin, like Kevin says, bro, just another day in the nation, man. You already know, man. Just another day in the nation, man. You know, this is nothing new. This ain't nothing to us. We're like, oh, okay. You know, right before the season. This ain't. You know, it's funny. This is so crazy. It's a month or two away from the season, and if you think about it, it's like this is not the craziest thing to happen right before the season.
Not the crazy, but look,
number one though. Number one is Antonio Brown. That's number one.
Number one.
Number two.
But is
A close number two. 1B is Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack was crazy.
No.
Oh, you talking about the trade?
Javon Walker. No, talking about Javon Walker.
Javon Walker. I know they signed him to a crazy deal.
He got socked out. He got socked out in Vegas.
That happened right before the season? I know something like that happened, but I didn't know it happened right before the season.
It was like right before the season. It was like during the offseason.
Wow.
After they signed him, he got socked out in Vegas. That was the craziest thing.
That's wild, man.
Because it was like it was all kind of speculation. People didn't know what happened, and like it was like crazy. I remember that was crazy. And we signed to a fat contract, and like because we spent a whole bunch of money in the offseason. We signed him, we signed Jabril Wilson, and we signed one other person. I can't remember who the other person was, but I know those were like the two real big ones. Yeah. And people were like, yeah, man, with the Raiders, they back. Was that Lamont Jordan? Nah, was that Lamont Jordan? Nah, I don't know if it's Lamont Jordan, but we signed 3 people that took some nice money in the offseason. But yeah, him getting socked out. That's what I remember.
Yeah. Now the deal to Javon Walker was terrible. I mean, because he was coming off at that time, microfracture surgery. I don't even know. Can players come back from that? Like in today's, like, because I know since then, you know, with technology and modern medicine improving. Yeah. Back then though, like when you had that type of surgery, I remember Chris Webber had that similar issue. It was never the same player. Yeah. And that's basketball. And then he also had that same injury, and like he was never the same player that he was like when he was with like Green Bay and early Denver Broncos.
Yeah, not facts. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Now I think the injury that like I think every athlete's probably scared of is
Achilles.
The Achilles, bro. The Kobe killer, bro. Like that's the injury that ended his career, in my opinion, as far as like the Kobe. Like, you know, the athletic prime, like the Kobe that we knew it back in the day. But anyways, just getting back to the Raiders, man. Christian Wilkins was released today. What's crazy is the Raiders did this a few months ago, or a month ago. June 4th is when they went ahead and they went ahead and like voided his, 35 mil, I think, at least 36 mil of guarantees. That being said, today was like the last day. I think they give him like 50 days for the player to like file it to the NFLPA, to file a grievance. I'm sure he's trying to get that money back. Today was the last day. So it's crazy. If they did this on the 4th, him dancing on the Raiders facility, like they must have, like, I don't know what that was. And that didn't make any sense. Like, why was he even in the building? Like, I'm sure he had a huge problem with them like voiding that part of his deal, but he was still like in the facility. But
I mean, like I said, that may beg to question when, because because I've seen the video, but is like their timestamp or day stamp? Do we know for sure like it was like the video was posted like real time, or it was like close proximity to when it was recorded? Is there any evidence of that?
Yeah, Kevin Lurker says by tomorrow we might hear more. Yeah, as time goes on, we'll hear more, because I feel like there's much more to what's being reported as of right now. All that we know is that like The Raiders wanted him to get surgery. He didn't want to do that. There's also people who are saying that like the way he handled his rehab was less than what the Raiders would want. So like there's probably some things happening. He was over here dancing out the boot, and the Raiders want him to get surgery. So I'm sure that was probably like, I don't know, maybe in the Raiders' eyes, probably like the last straw. They're like, all right, bro, like,
yeah,
you got to go now. Like you tap dancing and you jumping up and down like you a 300-pounder, and you got to recover from an injury.
That brings me to the saying that we've all heard: believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. Because right now, the Raiders are going to make a full court press, and that's what I said. We're hearing sources from the Raiders. They're less than satisfied with Christian Wilkins' approach to the rehab process. But just a month and a half ago, was it? Pete Carroll was when he used to right before the mini camps. He was talking about how Christian Wilkins has really attacked the rehab process, and these guys doing all that he can do to try to get back healthy. So that's why it's one of those situations like, okay, it's all spin, it's all media spin, because just then he was saying how happy they were with how he was approaching it and how seriously he was taking it. Now that they want to void his money and want to cut him and not pay him, that's all, man. The Raiders, they're pretty upset with how he was approaching the rehab process. Like, yeah, sure. I'm sure that's the case. Like, that's what they're going to say now. That's why you really can't believe anything. Like, this is going to get settled. It's going to be evidence. I'm sure that statement is going to be used against Pete Carroll at some point, because you can't void my guarantees and say you aren't happy with the rehab process, and then after you void it, say you voided it. I mean, or you know, just talking. I mean, when just previously you were saying how happy you were. So it probably stems from his refusal to have a surgery. But you know, medicine is mostly science, but there is some art to it as well, where different doctors can see different things and they will come up with different approaches to how to solve that, you know, or to remedy that ailment. So it could be 5 doctors that say, oh man, you know, this guy definitely has to have surgery. It could be 7 doctors that say, from my professional opinion, I don't think you have to have surgery. We can do this, and you know, this could cut X amount of time off your recovery. Right? 2 different doctors can look at the same foot and see 2 different things. So that's why I'm saying they're putting out stuff saying multiple doctors said he needed to have surgery. I'm sure Christian Wilkins probably consulted multiple doctors that said he didn't have to have surgery. So the team probably went with, you know what, we want you to have surgery because this is likely going to, you know, fix it more permanently, and we won't have to worry about you dealing with the same issue later on. Chris Wilkins probably is like, nah, I want to play now. Like, you know, if I have another surgery, I'm definitely gone for the year. If I can recover and not have to go through that, then I can return sooner. Because we were hearing that August, you know, that early August timeline. And I'm pretty sure that's probably coming from Wilkins' camp. We know it's not coming from the Raiders' camp because they want him to have surgery. So, you know, it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of spin that's gonna be coming out over the next few days.
It's not even. I don't think it's not just even about the Raiders wanting him to have surgery. It's the team doctors. The Raiders have their own doctors that are going to determine the severity of injuries, and they're going to lean on them. They can't go against them. They can't like make up some things and go against that. Like, they have team doctors that they have to lean on, and I'm sure for them to go to this route, they're covering all their bases. They have. The doctors are saying that they go to surgery route. I think a good reference point is, you know, shout out to The Athletic. They got a podcast where they had a there's a doctor out here that breaks down, you know, sports injuries. It's pretty good, man. I'm trying to remember the name, but anyways, he was breaking down Christian Wilkins' injury, and he was basically breaking down the scenarios and the recovery time that happens with that type of injury. Usually guys come back from that, but, you know, it's very, you know, it's an issue where, you know, if bigger guys, they got to be very careful. Obviously they're heavier. It's in their foot. It was an injury in his foot. And one of the things he said is that if there's any type of issue where there was any like re-injury, any delays when it comes to that, like any problems like that, especially like if he like re-injured it because he went back into the boot. That's the issue here. Like I think a month or two ago, we heard that it's like around I think about around May or April or something like that.
This is a few months back, yeah.
Few months back, right? We heard that he had to go back on a boot, and everybody's like, "Oh my God." He pretty much broke it down to this. He said if he re-injured his foot, there are no other options other than surgery.
Yeah.
There are no other options. Now, if he went back on the boot for precautionary reasons, okay. Maybe, he felt some soreness. They didn't find anything, but, he felt some soreness, and that's fine. So we were hoping, at the time, we were hoping for the best. But if he re-injured it, and in my opinion, I think that the Raiders are kind of in the right when it comes to like if he needs surgery, he needs surgery. Why are you trying?
Like I said, that there's who like perfect example. Who did you say? What team doctor said he needed surgery?
Raiders.
Who did they work for?
They work for the Raiders, but they're
no. That time out.
They're doctors.
No. But so whose best interests are they going to look out for?
I mean, it's not even about interest. They can't go. That's unethical.
No, but that's my point. That's my point. 5 different doctors can look at the same thing and give you 5 different remedies. So just because those team doctors, like perfect example, Kawhi Leonard. Before he went to Toronto, the Spurs doctors were saying, "Hey, Kawhi Leonard, you can play." Kawhi Leonard consulted other doctors, and other doctors were saying, "Yo, you probably shouldn't play." The Spurs are trying to force Kawhi Leonard to play. Kawhi Leonard said, "No, I'm not playing. I'm not ready to play." So there was an impasse. He got traded. Because the Spurs doctors were looking out for the Spurs' interest, and the other doctors were looking out for Kawhi's interest. So when those two things butt heads, you're at an impasse. There are going to be some doctors that say, "Hey, you know what? I think you should do this." But there's also going to be some doctors that say, "You know what? You don't have to do this. That is one route you can go, but there is another route you can go as well." So if those other options aren't being offered, then and I go to another doctor and that doctor says, "You know what, you can do this." What does that look like? That looks like, y'all not giving me the full gamut of my options. And if I don't want to get cut on again, then I would prefer not to get cut on again if there's another avenue. So if there's perfect example, my boy ruptured his Achilles. My boy ruptured his Achilles. We was playing hoop. That's 6-7 years ago. One doctor said, "You know what? Hey, the way it is, we can just cast you up and it'll heal itself, but another route that I would advise you to do is to just have surgery and then be in the boot for it's going to take longer, but we feel that it's going to heal better." So those are the 2 options that were offered to him. It was one that was surgical, one that was non-surgical, and he he went He took the surgical route, but the other route was offered to him. So if the other route wasn't offered to him and he goes to another doctor and they say, "Yo, you didn't have to have surgery. You could have been back much quicker." If you had elected to not have surgery, well then now it looks like you're not looking out for me. Now it looks like, okay, you guys are not giving me my full, and I'm not saying that might not be necessarily what happened, but it looks like if he's saying the only option is to have surgery, and that's all he's hearing, then obviously he's going to have surgery. So just his behavior lets you know, that's not the only option. Maybe that's the only option offered by the Raiders, but it's not the only option that was out there.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. You're just saying that there is such a thing as a second opinion. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, a doctor's opinion is based off his experience and his expertise, but there are other doctors who have experience and expertise and they could have an opinion on it as well. I get what you're saying, but you use an example of Kawhi Leonard. This is a guy that's always injured. He's always hurt. The guy got traded from San Antonio Spurs. He's been injured throughout his career. Has he been healthy? Yes, but he's injured his entire career. So it's like, it's neither here or there. But I get your point. Your main point is that there are other opinions that probably Christian Wilkins seeked out. But I'm going to say this. I think there's more to the story than just, him not wanting to do surgery. The Raiders want him to do surgery. And on top of that, I think there's a question. This is what people are saying. Probably more stuff is going to come out as time goes on. They're questioning the rehab process. Like he was dancing. Like he was over here, like damn near like doing about to be doing a backflip the other day. Like he was dancing in a workout area in the Raiders facility. So it's like, man, like, and he's out of his boot, and the Raiders want him to get surgery, and he's over here like out of his boot doing whatever he wants to do. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. You know what I mean? As time goes on, we'll find out what the truth is. But I will say this: the one area that I like, where people are kind of like not talking about to a certain extent, I think some Raider fans recognize it, is, man, the Raiders are always doing, like, they're always in the news for these types of reasons. Why are the Raiders in the news for these types of reasons? Like voiding contracts, big time deals after 1 year, and it's right before training camp as well. It's like, man, let me ask you this. Let's try to like break it down from this perspective. When do you think the Raiders wanted to move on from Christian Wilkins? At what point?
I haven't the slide. I mean,
there's nothing like on paper, but I'm just
no paper. I mean, they have to have been thinking about this for some time, because we brought in Lucky Fatu. We drafted JJ Pegues. We drafted Tonka Hemingway. I think part of this might be the fact that like we recently was looking at Quentin Jefferson. So maybe that's kind of when things kind of came to a head. That was like, okay, now we're looking at Quentin Jefferson, and we're bringing him in for a workout. So, maybe that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, because that was curious, because it was like right around the time that video happened, or like right after that, the Raiders bring in Quentin Jefferson for a workout. Like, that's curious, right? So. I don't know. Obviously, they voided his guarantees before. They had to know that was going to cause some kind of a issue with him. To Christian Wilkins' credit, we've heard nothing from him about it. Like, he's kept it quiet. Obviously, it seems like he was still trying to work stuff out with the team, because he just recently filed the grievance. So there was probably some kind of back and forth or some kind of correspondence between him and the team, where he was trying to probably come to an amicable solution without having to go that route. But he exhausted the full time. They couldn't come to an agreement. So then he filed the grievance. But I will say that, as I said, Pete Carroll he's been on record saying how happy they were with him in the rehab process, what he's been doing and how hard he's been working at it and doing all that he can to get back. So those words will haunt him. And it will haunt the Raiders organization, because if you're denying him guaranteed money that's in his contract, the contract that was offered by the Raider organization, even though you weren't, they weren't privy to that contract, they weren't part of it, they weren't party to it. The organization they work for was party to it, and they have to honor it. So if you're saying at one point in time you were happy with his rehab process, now all of a sudden you're saying you're not happy with his rehab process, therefore you're voiding his money. That those two things don't necessarily jibe. So it's at that point it's going to be the burden of proof shifts to the Raiders to show why they were unhappy with the process and what actions show that there was cause enough for you to void his guarantee money. Walking around in Crocs or whatever, that's not enough, because we don't know at what point, if he's rehabbing, there are progressions in your rehab. So there are certain activities you can do at certain points where you're okay in the rehab process. You might be like, okay, bam, at this point in the rehab process, you can do this. At this point in rehab process, you can do this. Okay, now, you know what? We're going to start with light weights, you know, and maybe a month from now, we'll start with heavier weights. Or right now, hey, you know what? We're going to start you jogging 35%. Next week, we'll go to 50%. Then we'll maybe after that, you know, we'll progress to running or sprinting. Like there's certain steps. So just because people want to point, oh, he was in the locker room kneeling down like that, we don't know what that means. Like that means absolutely nothing, because we don't know what actions were prohibited by whatever rehab or whatever trainer he's working with.
We don't. But obviously they're gonna have a hearing, and the Raiders are gonna state their case. Raiders probably feel really good about where they at with it, because they have doctors to prove why they feel like he needed surgery. They also there's question about his rehab process. I'm sure they're gonna look into that. Him dancing on his story, you know what I mean? When they want him to have surgery, he's over here dancing, doing all types of crazy things. There is a question. He's like not healthy enough to be on the field. What's gonna be interesting is that he's going to be a free agent. Is a team going to sign him?
Oh, and yeah, of course.
And if someone signs him, is he going to play?
I will tell you this: if he plays, that is a death knell to the Raiders' cause. It's a wrap for the Raiders.
Oh yeah,
if he plays, it's a wrap for the Raiders. It's like, know what it's like, and I know this because I just experienced it. Like when the Lakers traded for that center, Mark Williams, and then they failed him on the physical, and then, you know, he went to other doctors, and other doctors said, hey, you know, he's fine. Like we don't say why he failed him. You know, it was basically a lot of people. The speculation was, hey, you know what? The Lakers got cold feet about it. They felt they may have overpaid. And so in order to get out of that particular trade, they're like, you know what, we're gonna fail him on the physical, and that way the trade won't go through. So, you know, it could be a situation where the Raiders like, you know what, hey, now we're kind of having some regret about this signing. It's a lot of money in our cap. You know, we want to free this money up, and hey, we're gonna figure out a way to get rid of him for cause. Could be a situation like that, because Think about it like this. If Christian Wilkins, obviously he knows that at some point the health of his foot is going to be at issue. Whether that be either a grievance through the Players Association or whether that be with his direct contact with the Raiders, right? The issue is his foot. So if you think that if that video of him kneeling or dancing was going to cause damage to his ability to get upwards of $35 million back, was that video worth it for him to lose out on $35 million? If you feel what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know what his doctors are permitting or what his trainers are saying he can do at this particular time. A lot of people were making a whole lot of assumptions about what he can and what he can't do, having never had surgery or having never had this particular kind of surgery. So like, we don't know. It's all just speculation. But, you know, I think a lot of people are just automatically jumping to the conclusion, oh, he's not taking the rehab process seriously, when we have our head coach saying, you know, 2 months ago he's extremely happy with how he's doing it.
But the head coach was saying, head coaches say a lot of things. They're not going to give away don't talk about it. They're not going to say the actual truth, what happens behind closed doors. We know that. We have to read between the lines. After they have no choice but to say the truth, is sometimes they tell you the truth, and that's not even a guarantee. So I'm not going to even look into that. What I'm going to talk about is I'm going to focus on is that, like, when did the Raiders? Because I'm thinking about this. I'm like,
that matters though. That's the thing though. But that's the thing. What he says in public, that's on the public record. So that matters. So you don't think it matters. You can think it's all coach speak, but what you say out loud, that matters. So if you were saying at one point you're happy with his rehab process, and then come back later after you cut him and after you want to get out of having to pay him money, now you have an incentive to lie. At that point, there's no benefit of lying. It's you just spinning, or it's just you paying fan service. Now, after the fact, when there's actual dollars on the line, now you have an incentive to lie and obfuscate and deflect and not tell the truth. So that stuff is going to be weighed. and it's not necessarily going to be weighed equally.
Well, he did
Because,
say
like
it's
I
a long
said,
process.
now you have incentive to lie. At that point, you didn't have incentive to lie.
Yeah, but like, okay. Let me put it this way: the Raiders are not going to come out and say what the team doctors found when they did a physical on Christian Wilkins. You know, stuff like that is private matter. I understand that, you know, Christian Wilkins is an athlete and he plays for $1 billion football team, and yeah, everybody's going to know your business. But at the end of the day, like, it's medical information that's not privy to everybody, right? What happens behind closed doors. So they're not going to say that out loud. That's what's going to be talked about in the hearing. They're going to talk about facts, things behind closed doors, that type of stuff. Yeah, you're right. They might look at that, but they're going to look at the facts. And the facts are, like, if he did anything to not rehab correctly, not follow what they had, the plan they had for him to come back. Also, if the doctors they had are saying that, hey, this is, and they're gonna put, you know, this is a hearing. I don't know if it's gonna go into court or anything like that. It's gonna go into arbitration.
It's gonna go arbitration. But that's the thing though. All that stuff is going to because what is at odds is the sentiments and the opinions of the team of how Christian Wilkins was conducting himself in the rehab process. One of the central figures is the head coach. So obviously the Raiders have their doctors. They're going to have their opinions on what he should do. Christian Wilkins is going to have his doctors, and they're going to have their opinion on what he should do. And then you have the head coach in the organization who has already expressed their satisfaction with his conduct during the rehab process. Now to say later you're not happy with his conduct during the rehab process, that is going to be a tough thing to overcome. An extremely tough thing to overcome, because you've already gone on the record. If you don't want to talk about a player that's injured, there are plenty of coaches in the NFL that will say, I do not talk about players that are injured. There are plenty of head coaches. I want to say Josh McDaniels had that stance, right? I don't remember if Gruden did too, but I think Josh McDaniels did. But there are a lot of coaches in the NFL that say, no, I'm not going to talk about a player that's injured. Like, I just don't do that. So if Pete Carroll, he's been a coach since the 70s, bro, don't talk about a player that's injured. We brought you here for your experience, for your ability to navigate these types of events, and you mishandled it already. So, you know, like you're already behind the 8 ball, because that's public record.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see, because there's a lot of information that hasn't come out yet, which will probably come out over time. All we know is the fact that the Raiders have questions about how he handled the rehab process. The team doctors wanted him to they opted for him to get surgery. He said no. Time has went on. In between that time, they voided his guarantees. Today was the final straw. They obviously released him, and you know, Christian Wilkins, he filed a grievance to NFLPA. So we'll find out more as time goes on. My thing is, when I asked you originally, I was asking you, like, when did the Raiders like decide or feel like they had to go in a different direction for Christian Wilkins? And this is us just like looking into it, because now we've seen the offseason happen from the beginning to now. And the reason why I asked this is because we drafted 2 D tackles. Yeah. So they must have had a thought like, you know what, we need to get some depth. And the D tackles weren't like run stuff in D tackles. There were 3 techniques. And what does Christian Wilkins play? He's a 3 technique D tackle that can stop the run, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, did they have an idea like, you know what, we need to, and this is April. When did we find out about Christian Wilkins? I think probably maybe after the draft.
I think it was May. I want to say May, I think. But,
yeah.
but I think
people, but they probably know before then. They probably knew before.
People had spotted people. I think people had spotted him because remember, there was a point in time he was at the team facility working out with no boot on, and then after that is when they saw him with the boot on. So people were like, "Yo, Christian Wilkins, he was a full go." It seemed like he seemed to be a full go working out with the team during one of the off-season sessions. I can't remember which one. And then later on, it was like, dang, well, you know, he was spotted in the boot again. So, like I said, though, I mean, like I said, we don't know, because we also got rid of some young defensive tackles. Like, we got rid of Matthew Butler. we got rid of some other guys too. So I think we kind of replaced those guys with new guys. You know, I forgot who the other guy was, Matthew Butler or somebody else. But we got rid of 2 young D tackles, picked up 2 more young D tackles, and then we picked up a true, and we got rid of what's my guy's name, Jenkins, and we picked up Licky for 2 to be that you know that 2 gap and defensive tackle. So like a lot of the movements seem to be just replacing guys we had, but there was also, it seemed to be, hey, you know what, this could be insurance against Christian Wilkins not playing this season. So I mean, I think at some point, I mean, you know, you got to prepare. You know, you hope for the best, prepare for the worst. You don't want to be in a situation where you're kind of scrambling at the end. But the fact that we brought in Quentin Jefferson, that leads me to believe that, hey, you know what? Maybe we weren't 100% sure that Christian Wilkins wasn't going to come back, because why would you all of a sudden bring in Quentin Jefferson for a workout? Like,
well, we got a lot of guys in a room. You know what I mean, at that D tackle position.
Yeah.
And this is similar to like 2021, where like that's like last time I could think of that we had this many D tackles in the room, meaning that like I'm not sure what they're gonna do going into the season. I mean, we can make a good guess. It's probably gonna be a committee type approach where they're gonna throw like it's gonna be a rotation of D tackles. Was Rob Leonard, was he the D line coach at that time? Or was it somebody different with Gus Bradley? I know Gus Bradley wanted a
somebody
rotation.
Did. Oh, I think it was somebody different. It was okay. I think it was Marinelli.
Oh, was it Marinelli? Okay, so that's gonna be interesting.
Before that, it was the old boy. That he left us and went to the Cardinals. So I liked him too. Buckner.
Yeah. Buckner.
Buckner.
Yeah.
I liked him, but then we replaced him. I mean, I think he did a good ass job, but
that was like
Marinelli's a legend.
Season.
So.
Yeah.
Max left. All the players left him. I think who bought it? I think like he got somebody to start playing well. Was it Arden Key? He got somebody to start really playing well. I can't remember. It was one of the young guys, but I thought he did a good job. But obviously, you were able to bring in Rob Marinelli. He's one of the best.
Marinelli. Marinelli probably you could. That was a great pickup, because Marinelli. You hear Max Crosby talk about him, like the way Marinelli challenged Max, that took him to another level, because he had a whole lot of respect from him, because he coached, you know, Hall of Famers on the D line.
He's one of the best to ever do it.
That's gonna be interesting. So how Rob Leonard is gonna approach, and I'm sure he's gonna be in there with Patrick Graham, Pete Carroll. How are they gonna plan to like solve this issue at D tackle? Is it gonna be like a rotation of D tackles, or to keep them fresh? We've seen that with Gus Bradley at defensive coordinator in 2021. Or are they gonna like have guys with specific roles? Like, you know, I mean, Adam Butler is gonna be the 3 technique. Then you got like a run stuffer. Then you got this guy coming in, Tyree Wilson. If this is a year to have a breakout, would be this year. I know you looking at me like we had so many jokes about Tyree and his, you know, what he's shown so far for being a number 7th overall pick. But like, this would be the year, man, to break out. This would be the year to step up. If he wants to be paid big time contract, you know, whatever motivates him. Like, you know, obviously, you know, we haven't really seen Tyree talk, and maybe that's him saying like, let me prove it on the football field before I do all these interviews. And I can respect that. Because I know we talked about how like he hasn't been on Max's show, and that must be a sign, you know what I mean, for something. But at the same time, like, you know, he's probably focused on what he can do on a football field. And if he could show this year and be a productive guy inside, especially with Christian Wilkins now gone, you know, man, I want to look. Let's look at like this post here.
I have no faith in Tyree doing it. I hope he does. I hope for something last year when we were missing Christian and missing Kuntz. That was the hope last year. So I have no hope this year, or no faith. I have hope. I hope he does it, but I'm not expecting it, or, you know, I'm hoping we're not depending on that.
Right. It's interesting, man. This free agency is just really like a hit or miss, man. Especially the 2024 free agency. And the reason why I say that, there's like someone made a post here. NFL Rumors on X posted some of the top free agents from 2024 class. You see Kirk Cousins, $45 million a year. Christian Wilkins, $27.5 million. Bryce Huff, Jonah Jackson, Gabriel Davis, Gardner Minshew, Joby Awuzie, $12 million. So all these guys were released or traded.
Yeah.
After year one.
Yeah.
Except for Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins is about to be traded.
Yeah.
You would think that Kirk Cousins is about to be traded. Like, they're, right now he's kind of in a tricky situation where he's trying to get out of there, go to a place where he can, obviously have a chance to play at quarterback with, Michael Penix being the new starting quarterback for the Falcons. He's probably, he doesn't want to be there anymore, which is crazy to think about. Like, he signed all that money and now he's going to get traded. So, I would think so pretty much everybody on this list, they're going to have a different team in 2025.
Yeah, nobody on that list is going to be starting with the team that signed them, essentially. So that would include Kirk Cousins, whether he plays hardball and stays around or whether he's traded or released or whatever. Nobody on that list is going to be starting for the team that signed him to that contract. So that's why that's why I warn against free agents. That's why I keep saying we need to pay Jacoby, we need to pay Colton, because Jacoby Myers is one of the few free agency hits we've had recently where he's outperformed his contract. And now he's in-house. Keep that guy. Spill was another one. We didn't keep him. But Colton is a homegrown guy. One of the few Oakland Raiders left on the team. Pay that guy. Keep him around. Like, we see what can happen if you out there trying to chase or trying to replace something you already have, right? Once you, like, we saw what happened with Carr. Like, Carr wasn't the best, but we got rid of him before we had somebody we thought could replace him. So I think we need to go ahead and make sure that we take care of our own guys.
Shout out to Josh DeBow on X. He always got some stat regarding the Raiders, man. He has one here. He says, biggest contracts given to outside free agents by Raiders since moving to Las Vegas. Christian Wilkins, 4 years, $110 million, cut after 1 year. Jimmy G, three years, $72.575 million, cut after 1 year. Chandler Jones played 1 season. We all know what happened in the Chandler Jones situation. And then Corey Littleton, like, man, and I bring this up too is like the Raiders have a new regime now with Spytek and Pete Carroll, and their approach has kind of been like, we're going to build through the draft. We're not going to overspend. We'll see when there's probably a better class of free agents in the upcoming years, especially with Spytek being the GM, hopefully for a long period of time. But it just seems like they're not a fan of giving out big contracts through free agency. And on top of that, the reason why I asked you, like, when did they decided that Christian Wilkins was not going to be the guy for them moving forward at defensive tackle? We can go back and forth on when that could be, and obviously this all due, speculation or whatever. But the reason why I asked that is because a lot of the former Raiders, they opted for the most part not to bring him back. If you look at the free agents from the Spillanes, the Nate Hobbs, the Morrigs, they let him walk in free agency.
Yeah.
And now Christian Wilkins, he's cut. They decided maybe like one guy, like a Max Crosby is a guy that obviously they want to continue to build around. But even he wasn't going into the offseason, there was a question mark for him as well. Like, there was a question like, does Max stay? I mean, we obviously didn't believe it. We had to believe it until we see it. But I'm just saying, you're talking about Jacoby Myers, but they haven't offered him a contract. Colton Miller, they haven't offered him Colton Miller, the starting left tackle. Left tackles are hard to come by. They haven't offered him a contract. So their approach is like, man, if we didn't sign you or draft you for the most part, like, we don't want it's like we don't want to have any long-term a commitment until we've decided that it makes sense for us.
Yeah, I would say this. If you're in an organization who preaches culture, who preaches being about ball, who preaches teamwork and leadership and doing things the right way, if you don't feel that Jacoby Myers or Colton Miller belongs in your organization, then you are an organization that is doomed for failure. You can't preach all of the things that you preach and have these guys who are the opposite of divas, who are very good players in their own right, who do all the little things, plus take care of the leadership aspect, plus work hard. They do everything, all the intangible things, plus be productive, plus do the dirty work. And you don't bring them back, then I don't want to hear a damn thing about, oh, this is the kind of culture we want to build. Because you're full of shit at that point. You're full of, and I can't take you seriously anymore, because those are foundational culture pieces. Those are the kind of guys you bring in and you say, yo, they've been here, they've worked hard, they've done the right things, they haven't got in trouble, they've been productive, they've been coachable, they've been leaders, been good teammates, great in the locker room, great in the community, but we don't want them because we're trying to build no, that's not how you build a good culture. So if those are guys that don't belong in your culture, then you're probably not going to win.
Yeah, no. See, the thing is though, to play devil's advocate, right? We've seen a different regime re-sign players that they didn't have anything to do with drafting or obviously signing originally, and that's the, you know, I don't like, people might have a problem with this, but Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, they handed out the big contracts. They traded for the you know, obviously they traded for Devontae Adams, but they signed. They re-signed a Derek Carr. They re-signed a Darren Waller. They re-signed a Hunter Renfrow. And what happened? Like, that didn't really add up to anything of success on the football field, is what I'm trying to say. So I think the way Spytek and Carroll are going about it, they're like, we want our guys. And this is like normal, bro. Like, this is normal. When new head coaches come in, new GMs, they want their people in the building. And we've seen, like, you know, guys get re-signed that were from previous regimes, but we also see it not work. So Spytek, the way he's going about it, in my opinion, I think it's kind of, you can say that it's maybe a little bit like, you know, I want to say like, it's not, I want to say not aggressive, but like, he's being very selective on who he wants to bring back. And Max Crosby's a guy that obviously he wants to bring back. You know what I mean? That was a guy that I'm not gonna say that he's wrong for doing that. But everybody else, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Christian Wilkins' contract, as much as we wanted a D tackle for years, his contract was crazy. And that was a Telesco signing. That was a Telesco contract that was handed out.
I'm cool with Christian Wilkins, them not bringing back, because I kind of said before, that's a lot of money invested on your defensive line between him, Max, and then if we were going to pay Kuntz. So if you're not going to bring Christian Wilkins back, okay, that's fine. But like the way you're doing it now, where you're like, oh, we're not going to bring it back, and we're going to, on the way out the door, we're going to kind of, you know, basically shit on him, saying he wasn't taking the rehab process properly and try not to pay him. You know, like, and then in the Raiders, they have a history of not paying guys who've been here, right? And usually generally as coaches, but they've done this before. So, you know, and the thing that's odd, and it's just odd from the fan perspective, is nobody saw the video of Christian Wilkins and said, oh man, Christian Wilkins not taking rehab seriously. Nobody saw that, and their instant thought was, oh, this guy isn't being serious, right? Everybody saw that and it was like, oh man, we about to get him back week 1, or he's coming back sooner than expected. But now, after the Raiders say he's not taking rehab seriously, then that flips and spins. Nobody didn't think he was taking rehab process seriously, or he was dogging it, or, you know, there was questions about what was taking so long, or what set him back. Know what usually sets people back in the rehab process is trying to do too much too early. That's generally what sets you back. That's generally what causes re-injury, right? Trying to do too much, trying to rush back and not be patient. That's usually what happens. It's usually not doing too little. So, like, that leads me to believe he was trying to get back. So, but now that the Raiders have said he's not taking it seriously, now Christian Wilkins is a villain. Like, if the Raiders don't want to bring him back, I'm cool with not bringing. Like, if you thought he was being paid too much, Or if you feel he's not a fit for your system, that's fine with me. Like, hey,
I think it's a combination.
It is what it is.
I bring up that point, not to say that's the only reason why they didn't bring him back, because he was signed by a different regime and it was a big contract, and how they want to build their team move forward. They don't want all that money to be with a guy they really feel is not worth all that money. Yeah. I'm just saying that's also part of the equation too, is like, he's not a guy that they really bought into. He was a guy that they inherited. Is a big contract, and I would say his room for error was small in their eyes, probably. And the fact that he wasn't trying to work with them when it comes to the rehab process, whatever that is, we don't know all the details, but whatever that situation was, that added up to also them saying, "Hey, do you want to have surgery?" And not asking if he wants to have surgery. They're literally telling him that we need you to have surgery on this, on this foot, because the team doctors determined that, and he said no. At that point, it was just a matter of like, it's a countdown. His days were numbered at that point. But like you said, man, there's a lot to it. As time goes on, we'll figure out more. This could be a situation where the Raiders did some dysfunctional thing, and they're pretty much guilty when it comes to that type of stuff. Meaning that, like, they're always in the news for the wrong reasons. We laugh about it. We like, the Raiders are gonna Raider, but like, this is crazy. But I'm gonna give Spy Tech and Pete Carroll a little bit benefit of the doubt, because they've been kind of consistent throughout the offseason as far as like bringing back guys that they want to build around, who they feel like are centerpiece of the type of culture guys that they want to bring in.
I mean, you can't say that. you can't say that, because like I just pointed out, there are two guys. So they signed one guy in Max, but there's two guys that I think that,
Adam Butler.
If you talk about culture. Yeah, Adam Butler too. Adam Butler too. But if you're talking about culture, well, people blame him for hurting Christian Wilkins, but that's neither here nor there.
He was doing a
dance. You talking about, huh?
He got hurt trying to dance, and he was dancing a few days ago.
People said it was when Christian Wilkins jumped on him. That was the speculation was when Adam Butler jumped on him. But Tashawn Reed said he was hurt. He was hurt. It was something he was dealing with before that, and that game he was already kind of hurt, and then that like aggravated the injury or whatever. So I don't know exactly when. I don't think anybody truly does, but that's the speculation. But like I said, we haven't been consistent about bringing. As I said, Colton Miller and Jacoby Myers are two guys. If you're serious about culture and foundational pieces and all that stuff, those are two guys that should have already been brought back. If you didn't feel Christian Wilkins fit into the culture, I'm cool, bro. Like, hey, I ain't got no attachment to any player. There's a way you do it, and there's a way you don't do it. And if you're going to cut a guy for cause, then don't spend half the offseason talking about how happy you are with the guy and how serious he's taking it, how hard he's working, and then afterwards say that's not the case, because that makes you look like that paints you in a bad light, and that affects your organization negatively. We already see. We just did flag on a play for Mike Brown for how he's talking about Shamar Stewart. So and Shamar Stewart, one of the reasons why he pointed to why he was holding out was because how the Bengals are treating Trey Hendrickson. So this is a relationship business, and agents and executives and they remember this stuff. They remember how you treated their dudes on the way out, and if you did them dirty, that's going to play a part in the client's decisions to sign with your team. And there's the whole Players Association stuff that's going on right now. They just lost the president and the second in charge. The other guy had the scandal with he was misusing funds with the strip club, but they also had the scandal and they found out about that during their investigation about how the Players Association and ownership colluded against players to ensure that they got less money and weren't getting guaranteed deals. So you got all of that coming on right now. What do you think is going to be a big point of emphasis? How NFL teams conduct business with their players, and how well the Players Association defends their players against NFL teams and NFL ownership. So you got this in the news right now, and this is the time that you decide to come out and essentially try to cut a guy for cause and not pay him. This is not smart organizational stuff. Like, this is just like it's stupid. If I quite frankly, it's stupid. You should be playing 3-dimensional chess, and you out here playing pogs, right? Like, you're not moving in the right way. If you were going to get rid of him a long time ago. Because the longer you wait and draw out this process, it only makes it worse.
Because it worse. Okay, so let me speak to, because you keep bringing up the point that like, why are they coming out saying these comments? Because I think they're trying to manage the situation the best way they can, and I think they were trying to have him go about the process a certain way, the way they wanted him to, and he wasn't doing it that way.
No. See, that's they're trying to manage the optics the best way they can, because only person that matters in this situation is the arbitrator, or whoever is seeing the arbitration, the arbitrator. The only person that matters is that person. It doesn't matter what they put out in the media, but what they're trying to do now is it doesn't matter what they put out in the media. Okay, so if it doesn't matter what they put out in the media, you're pointing to the fact of what Pete Carroll is saying to the media. So if it doesn't matter, then that doesn't matter. What matters is what their team doctors are determining that he needs to do. What Pete Carroll said matters, because what they're saying, the reason they're saying now, so that's going to be used as evidence in arbitration. That's why that matters. So if you're saying you're cutting him for cause, past statements are evidence. What they're saying now is cleanup in optics. They didn't have to say anything to the media. They could have just took that to the arbiter and said, this is why we're cutting them. We got this, and this. This is all documentation. These are text messages. These is emails and e-documents, or just all this stuff. Right. But what they're doing by putting this out is they're trying to play the optics game, which all teams do. Like, I'm not blaming the Raiders, but I'm saying it puts them in a bad spot right now because of everything going on with the Players Association. So the players are already pissed off. We've been hearing what they've been saying about the executives and the guys that let go, and then the guy that they wanted to be in charge, he ended up resigning from his from position and not even putting his name in the hat because people were coming. So you got this firestorm coming right now, and what the Raiders decide to do is publicly shit on a guy they just cut and denied pay. It's not a good look.
I mean, if they're paying them, at the end of the day, like, if they're paying someone millions, and at the end of the day, part of what they have to do is what they perform on the football field, and they're not doing what it takes in their eyes, and they determined what it takes to get back on the football field, or do the things to help you get back on the football field, then they're like, you know what, is this guy bought into what we're building? And that's what Pete Carroll and Spytek have to determine. And also, and the question is not even about bringing him back. It's a question of like, damn, do we continue to pay this guy? It's a huge chunk of money that they weren't part of the decision making to bring him in, and that was a Telesco decision a year prior. So, like I said, man, we'll figure out as time goes on and what comes out, because I don't know what the Raiders have as far as evidence. You know what I mean? I think what I know for a fact is the team doctors. They're gonna point to that. Number one, but then there's going to be other things that we don't know. You know what I mean? As time goes on, and that's going to be and that's going to be a benefit to the Raiders in their situation and what they're trying to do, and not basically pay that money. But we'll see. But if they have to pay,
I hope we don't.
If the Raiders have to pay the contract for, man,
because he just restructured too. That's the thing. He just restructured. He just restructured with them. Yeah. So why would you restructure a guy's deal and add void years to the end of his deal? Like, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, the math is not adding up. Because why would you add void years to the end? To what's going to cause more dead money down the line, rather than if you wasn't just cut bait.
Yeah.
So
real quick, man.
Like I said,
man. Shout out to LS, man. Hey man, appreciate the super chat, man. He says Raiders really told him, I want it that way. Tell me why your foot ain't still healed yet. But not. Damn, that's
yeah, man. Like I
hilarious,
said,
man.
I hope we win this arbitration. I hope it comes out, because if it comes out in the opposite way, that's going to hurt us. So I hope they have some ironclad stuff, or they have documentation, or they can prove their case beyond a shadow of a doubt, because the burden of proof is going to fall on them. So that, and this is a civil matter, so it's only a preponderance of the evidence. It's not a beyond reasonable doubt. So that's a lower burden of proof for them, but it's still 51%. You're right. They still have to be more likely than not he was negligent. And if they can't prove that, at that lower standard of proof, it's going to reflect poorly on us, and it's going to affect our cap. So we really need this to go our way, because it's going to be, because the way because all that, I mean, we've been dealing with dead money for a while, so it's not going to cripple us, but it is going to affect us.
Yeah, no, it's going to affect us at the very least until next season, I believe. At the very least.
Because it's those. Well, if it doesn't go through, because we added those void years, so he restructured. So when you restructured, you add void years to the end of a contract. So it's gonna be dead money going forward.
No, I think let's see, because I think Josh DeBoe, he put out something. Listen. You know what? I could pull up the spot track. I don't know if it's gonna be updated though. Let's see. Let me see if spot track is updated. Christian Wilkins. We'll take a look at it. Hey man, real quick, man. Shout out to Raiders Smoke. My guy, man. I appreciate the support. He said, shout out to my guys. A lot to talk about in the nation, man. Facts, 100%, man. Yeah, man. He says, never a dull moment with the Raiders, man. Shaking my head. Yeah, for real, man. And it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, man. I'd rather have this team be boring, because, I mean, boring means that they're going to be doing the right things in order for them to be successful. Hopefully.
It was going smooth.
Yeah.
It was smooth.
Hopefully, maybe this is the Raiders' way of trying to, in a weird way, it is what it is. Yeah, I know, but hopefully it's just moving forward. We don't have to see this, but we say that all the time. But we'll see. We'll see, man. I'm cautiously optimistic, but something like this, the timing of it is just crazy. Right in the beginning of training camp, right? The season is around the corner. If you smoke, if you didn't hear us earlier, we were talking about the craziest things that happened right before the season. And I don't think this is at the top, just because we've seen even crazier things happen. You mentioned, you took it all the way back to Javon Walker. I was thinking more, I think the top two, in my opinion, are really close. But the number one is Antonio Brown. I got to give it to him. That was just wild. That was just wild. So crazy that I don't even want to talk about it, wasting time talking about it. But Khalil Mack obviously getting traded right before the season. That one, that was made me feel the season. That made me feel the season was over. I was just damn, man, the best player on the football team gets traded. The Raiders did end up getting first round picks, but what that means is that in the immediate future,
we wasted them though. We wasted them. But it's I didn't even think about that, because I wasn't happy about that, but I didn't feel that was dysfunction. I just felt that, we traded the guy, we got these first round picks. The Javon Walker thing, I was first of all, I didn't think we should have paid him. Nobody thought we should have gave him that much money.
I didn't know that happened before right before the season though. I know that happened. I want to say it was
right before the season. I want to say it was right before the season, because we didn't have him for a little while too. So
okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so
but
let me pull up this contract here. For real? Spot check wants you to pay.
They got you. They ain't gonna let you look at it.
Hey, rough times for spot track, man. Hey, man, they try to. What's the other one, man? Man, they over here to see the rest of Christian Wilkins' contract breakdown. You subscribe. Yeah. Get the premium, man, get the fuck out of here. I ain't paying shit.
Yeah.
Let me. What's the other one? I think there's contracts. NFL contract. Let me see. It was another website that has NFL contracts, but I don't think it's as good as contract. Over the cap. There you go. Over the cap.
Oh yeah.
Over the cap. Let's see. Christian Wilkins. Just give us just a second, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're about to pull up Christian Wilkins' contract. Let's see if it's a vote. Ooh. Okay. I think I got it pulled up here.
Got it?
Yeah. Let me move this. Man, these ads.
I'm looking at it right now. So, dead cap, this year.
So if you look, I'm sharing it right now. I'm sharing it right now.
Oh, let me see. So I'm looking. It's another site. What does they say? It's about the same. About the same.
Okay.
Yeah, about the same.
All right. So the Raiders went ahead. They voided this $8 million right here, right? I think that $8 million and 27 for 2026. I think they voided this. I don't think they're on the hook for 2027 and 2028 though. 2028 for sure, no. I don't think they're on the hook for 2027.
That's base salary. So it's just that guarantee. So just that 8 and that 27.25.
Let's see.
But all those void years. That's just one void year.
Oh, look at the dead cap hit though.
Yeah.
Dead money right here. Damn, man. If this doesn't go through arbitration the Raiders' way.
Yeah.
This is pretty ugly.
Yeah.
This is ugly. So on top of him, if he goes to another team and plays well in the immediate future, because the immediate future is just going to look bad. Like, damn, he was healthy enough to play and be productive.
Yeah.
On top of that, and if they have to pay his contract, like that'd just be too. Man, that'd be wild, man.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping they win this thing, man, because that's gonna be.
So this is really, it's not. Let me see, it's not updated. I don't think, but it shows the details here. So the only void year looking at here is 2028, but I'm thinking that the Raiders, if they went ahead and like, you know, if this goes through the Raiders' way, they're gonna the guarantee money from this year and next year, well, part of next year. There's still gonna be a dead cap hit though. That's the thing. No matter what, there's gonna be a dead cap hit. It's just a matter of how much.
And see, because what they might have done, I'm trying to think if restructuring, because this is the second time he restructured, right? He restructured before, didn't he? Or this is the only time he did?
No, they restructured earlier in the offseason. So
I'm saying early in the offseason, but did he restructure some last year? Did he do something last year too?
He signed his deal last year. He signed his deal.
Yeah, last year. But I'm saying like during the season, I remember. I thought he might did something last year, but okay. I may have thinking about somebody else.
I don't think.
But
so.
Yeah. So because they probably just converted some of his salary to like a
so
bonus.
Look. So look. You see how it says guaranteed salary right here? From this year is $8 million. Next year is $27.25 million. Right here.
Yeah.
The Raiders, if you add this up, this is $35 million.
That's 35. Yeah.
That's 35.
So that's the guaranteed.
Yeah. The Raiders are saying we're not going to pay this.
Yeah.
We're not going to pay this. And if it goes through, I think that there'll still be a dead cap hit, but it'll be way less. It'll be way less. But this is if they're on the hook though. 57. That's crazy. For a guy that's not even on a team. And then like you see 2027. Yeah, I think it's really this year and next year. This year and next year. But damn. Like I hope, man. I hope that is gonna be
we need this go our way. Like I said, I mean, they must like they say all the time in court or in legal matters, it's not about what you know or you know, it's about what you can prove. So they can know for sure, hey, you know what? He wasn't taking it seriously. He was dogging it. He was being lazy, whatever. But can you prove that?
Right.
Can you prove it? because it's going to be a lot of hearsay, a lot of he says, she says stuff, a lot of our doctor said this and my doctor said that. And, you know, and like I said, I mean, that's why I keep going back to that Pete Carroll video, because like a public statement like that matters. Now, if there is other correspondence between us two, like, hey, you know what? Hey, here's text message records showing, hey, on this date, you know, I told them you're not taking this seriously, or this date, or I send them an email telling them, hey, you know what? I need you to do this or do that. If there's stuff like that, then, you know, that can kind of counteract some of the public statements. But if there aren't any, like, but I tell you, like, but there's other correspondence where it can counteract that, then that works in the Raiders' favor. Where it's like, hey, you know what? This is documentation showing that we weren't happy, and we gave him multiple opportunities to kind of correct himself before we went this route. So hopefully, you know, there's some kind of stuff like that they have, because if not, like I said, that those public statements can end up being damning.
Yeah, and All Eyes says Mark giving Wilkins the old Mike Shannon treatment. Good luck getting them checks in court, bro. See, do you think this is a Mark Davis?
That's what I was saying, man.
I think it's. You think it's Mark Davis? I think it's.
I don't know if it's a Mark Davis.
Spytek and Pete Carroll saying like, "Hey, we're done with this."
But I mean, I don't know. But I don't know, because I mean, you know, Earl Thomas feels that Pete did him dirty in Seattle. So, you know, like, it could, you know, you never know. But like I said, I hope this is not a situation where they were just, you know what, they didn't want to. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. But I hope it's not a situation where they just trying to get out of paying dude, and they came up with some way to do it. You know, I hope they got some ironclad evidence, because that helps us, not only PR standpoint, which is important when you're trying to attract free agents, especially, you know, to this up and coming team, but helps us in terms of salary cap.
Yeah. Man, shout out to LS with another super chat, my guy, man. Appreciate you supporting the show, man. He says, if we end up on the hook for this money and he goes to the Chiefs, I'm gonna boil the kettle and just start drinking it like it's Gatorade after practice. Man, I'm with you, bro. I feel like I think that's every Raiders like worst nightmare, is any good player that leaves the Raiders and they go to the Chiefs or the Broncos or the Chargers. You know what I mean? That's like, and you know what? I could see Christian Wilkins trying to check and see if the Chiefs would be interested in his services, just because that's how petty he would be. You know, the Chiefs would have to be interested, and he would have to be healthy. But I'm just saying, I think he would be that petty to be like, oh, okay, y'all about to do me like this. I hope that doesn't happen, bro. Yeah, let's stop talking about it. I don't even want to put it in the universe, man. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that doesn't happen, man.
Like I said, this is just, I don't know. It's just a cluster fuck of stuff, and that's going on.
So Space Beast, I seen like Josh and Bo kind of talk about it. The dead cap hit would be if the Raiders were to win this arbitration, and, you know, obviously not paying the guaranteed money. I think next year's dead cap hit would be 29 instead of the 55, like 28, 29 mil dead cap hit.
Still a lot of money.
Still a lot, but it's not 50. You seen it. It's like 55, 57. Yeah. That's wild. Oh, according to Grok. Oh, well, hey, we can't go against AI, you know, these days.
Exactly. AI be knowing.
They be knowing.
But but there's a lot of, Joshua Dubois, he's like a super expert in this stuff. So there's a lot of like intricacies and stuff like that.
You know what? Let me see. Let me mess around with ChatGPT. Let's see. That's funny, man. I didn't even think to do that.
I think my guy Coach got a super chat.
Oh, Coach in the building, man. Appreciate you. My guy Coach with the super chat, man. I appreciate you supporting the show. He says, I really don't care if he goes to the Chiefs or Broncos. If he goes to the Chargers, I'm going to lose my mind.
Oh, yeah, no. Man. Oh, nowhere he could go. I don't think he would, though. Where he could go, that would be crazy.
Where?
He goes to the Rams. Jared Verse, old boy from Florida. They picked up the other Byron Young. They got old boy from Florida State too, right? The D tackle from Florida State.
Oh, that they drafted like in the second or third round. I think a lot of Raider fans wanted him.
A lot of Raider fans wanted because Max really liked him too. I forget his name, but yeah, if he goes there, that D line is crazy.
But he has to be healthy. That's the thing. It's health. That's the reason why he got cut. They're saying that he's not healthy enough to play.
The Raiders are saying he's not healthy enough to play.
But if
the point.
If he plays, bro, if he plays,
that's what I'm saying. The Raiders are making these assertions, not Christian Wilkins. Because if Christian Wilkins was going to be held, like he'd have all the incentive to have the surgery and just be done with it and still get paid if that was the case. So I'm saying like you have to look at people's motivations. Like what was his what his motivation be to not have another surgery? He'd still be getting paid.
Okay, so I'm using ChatGPT right now. The ChatGPT ain't ready for this type of.
They ain't ready for that. It's too complicated. Dang, it's crazy.
Yeah, but no, that's really what it is, though, man. Like the guaranteed money from this year, next year. That's what the Raiders are basically saying we're not going to pay you for. And if that's the case, then there's going to be a dead cap hit, I think, this year and next year, but it's not going to be as big compared to if they had to pay him money. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Now the question, I think the question
is not Jared Verse. It's the D tackle. The I think he's white. The white guy. The white D tackle. I forget his name. I'm trying to see if the chat helped me out. I don't think they got the chat.
Oh man,
it's not Jared Verse. Jared Verse is the edge. They drafted rookie of the year.
He's a D tackle.
Last year.
He's a D tackle.
They took him the year before. I want to say
Brandon Fisk. ECG,
okay.
Man. Hey, shout out to ECG, man. Appreciate you coming through.
Yes.
Yeah, Brandon Fisk, man.
Yes.
Braden Fisk.
Braden Fisk. Yeah, cold. He's cold too. And a lot of Raider fans liked him. A lot of Raider fans wanted him.
Yeah. A lot of Raider fans wanted him. Wilkins is gonna want to get his payback. Trust is gonna be close to division point. Yeah, I know. And he'll be willing to like take a pay cut too, just to do it. Just out of spite.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I was thinking another team is the Commanders. You know they got Clee up there. They're a team that's they just need defense. I think they got rid of. I think they still got De'Aaron Payne. They got rid of the other D tackle they had. I want to say, I think from was he from Bama? Jonathan Allen. They got rid of Jonathan Allen, I think, right?
Defense tackle from the Commanders.
I think they got rid of Jonathan Allen and they kept De'Aaron Payne, or it might be the opposite way around. But I want to say they got rid of Jonathan Allen and they kept De'Aaron Payne, so they can use another D tackle up there. So reunite with Cleveland Farrell. Quinn is a good coach. Now he has those Pete Carroll ties, so Pete Carroll might try to shit on him, like don't sign him. So we'll see, but
yeah. But we'll see, man. We'll find out as time goes on, like I said, and we'll get more information, and we'll see what the Raiders are actually arguing about, and we'll see what, at the end of the day, like who's gonna win the arbitration. That's what it really comes down to, because Raiders moved on. Obviously, Christian Wilkins is gonna move on. Is he gonna play? And that's the question that obviously Severe, like he makes a good point, is like it's gonna look bad if he plays in the immediate future, because that means he was good enough to play. So why are you not letting him play?
Yeah.
And
like I said, just the politics of it all. People just think this is just not Madden. These are like actual human beings. There's machinations going on behind the scene, as already evidenced by the entire scandal. Shout out to my guy Dante, but there's machinations going on behind the scenes. There's already evidence with the whole collusion between the Players Association and the NFL ownership. Roger Goodell is that separate faction. He represents the owners. He's a commissioner, but he represents the owners. The head of the NFL Players Association, they're supposed to represent the union members, which is the players. And the fact that they were, and so they're supposed to be mostly adversarial. But the fact that they were colluding to basically suppress the players and keep players from getting guaranteed contracts, that just shows whoever comes in next, they can't pull no punches. They have to come in swinging. And this is a high profile release from a marquee franchise, and a franchise that's been known to not necessarily treat people the best. So it would be a feather in the cap of whoever takes over the Players Association to go in full throttle, beat down the Raiders, and earn an early victory. That is instant credibility for you. And you know what? For the NFL, they might just say, hey, you know what? We always do the Raiders dirty anyway.
Well, let me ask you this. Real quick. You know how long the process is going to take? You think it's going to take a year or so, or maybe longer?
It's gonna be lit. I don't know, because
I understand what you're saying.
Both sides are gonna present a case.
Because NFLPA, they got all types of drama going on. So they got all types of issues. So it is.
So and it's gonna probably be on the back burner for until they find until they have somebody that's gonna head the NFLPA. I mean, it's gonna probably. They really can't move forward with anything. I don't believe so. This is going to kind of be on the back burner. So that money's going to probably go in escrow, and it's either whoever gets it, whoever wins the arbitration is going to get it. But just from the optics standpoint, the NFL, they might end up shivving the Raiders just to, hey, you know what? If we get to give the Players Association this win, they get this win, then they'll kind of get them off of our back, and we can do other stuff later on, right? Like, I don't want to bring politics into it, but it's kind of like the CBS, like the president sued CBS for an interview, and rather than going forward with the case, because CBS, they have a big merger that they want to do, it's worth billions of dollars, so they just end up just selling the case and paying the president like $16 million. They paid that $16 million to preserve billions. So sometimes you take that early L, just so on the back end you can make it back and get that return. So the NFL could say, like, you know what, this fight ain't worth it for us. We're gonna side with the players, and then on the back end we're gonna recruit for the owners, and we would be team for them to do that too, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let me hit up some of the people pulling up, man. We got ECG, man. Dante in the building, man. Appreciate the super chat, man. Appreciate you coming through and supporting the show, my guy, man. Hope all is well. And then we got Juan Soto in the building, pulling up, and he says it's not going to take too long. So that's what I was thinking too, as well. Like, I don't think the hearing, they're going to figure it out real soon. And if that's the case, then, because I know you're making a point that they're going to try to figure out who's going to be the head of NFLPA. I don't know when that they're going to decide that. So if the timeline doesn't match it, what I'm saying is that they're going through a lot of trials and tribulations with all the scandal and things that the NFL and the LPPA, y'all got to look into it. It's crazy. But yeah, man, that's we'll keep it on it. We'll see. It's basically hearing, I would say, okay. Seasons. Okay.
Yeah, it's just an arbiter. So whoever there's going to be, the Raiders present their case. They know the NFL Players Association on behalf of Christian Wilkins. I'm sure he has his lawyers as well. They present their case, and then the arbiter kind of decides. But I don't know if there's an appeals process though. And a lot of and look, and I'm not 100% sure, but because this might have changed. But at one point in time, if you had a issue or some kind of dispute with the NFL, the arbiter was Roger Goodell. So you couldn't go to court. You had to go through arbitration through the NFL. And I think the was Roger Goodell, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this came up during the whole Kaepernick thing.
If Roger Goodell's
I believe that's the case.
Then the Raiders, they got this in the bag.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because it's still the Raiders.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying he works for the league though. He works for the teams, bro. All right, we're being honest.
He works for the owners. But
he works for the owners, man. So,
but like I said though, sometimes you take one step back, take two steps forward. So if he wants to quell because I don't know when the next collective bargaining agreement is coming up, but yeah, that is diabolical. That's like a whole
I
shift
did
at
read it,
work.
bro. I was like, you read my list. You're hilarious.
That's crazy. That's crazy work. But like I said, man, look, they might throw the Raiders under the bus. It wouldn't be the first time. Probably won't be the last. So,
man, Juan, we got to get you on here soon, man. We got to get on here soon. It was a little last minute today, but yeah, man. Hey, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in at this point, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Before we head out, man, like, have you been hearing some of the stuff that's from training camp? I know it's been a couple days, non-padded practices, but there have been some team drills. Hey, it's day 2, and the starters, for the most part, on the outside, I'll make this comment, at receiver have been Thornton and Tucker. And Tucker. And then Jacoby Myers has been mostly in the slot. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've been hearing, I didn't hear everything about day 2. I heard Aiden looked good. I heard Gino looked good. I heard the chemistry between Gino and Jacoby is off the charts. Heard Ian Thomas was cooking. I heard that when they go 11 personnel, the grouping gets Thornton and Trey Tucker on the outside with Jacoby in the slot. But when they stay in 11 personnel and they bring Jack Besh in, that Trey Tucker is the guy that leaves the field. It didn't say where they put Jack Besh or where they put Jacoby or where they put Thornton. I'm pretty sure Thornton stays on the outside, but they didn't specify whether or not Jacoby stayed in the slot or Jack Besh moves to the slot. So it will make, probably to my opinion, make more sense for Jack Besh to go to the slot and Jacoby to move outside because he has experience out there, but we'll see. I heard Jamal Adams is playing linebacker.
I like that.
Which is bad news for Tommy Eichenberg. Sorry, coach. Also heard that they've been using 3 linebackers a lot, and that they've been using Jermaine Pratt as like a pseudo edge. So it's been Devin White as the Mike, Landon as the Sam, and then the Will was Jermaine. Yeah, the Will was Jermaine Pratt, but he's lining up like on the damn near basically on the line of scrimmage, but standing
everywhere, there. like in coverage on the edge. Like, so that's interesting. Like, Pratt's gonna have like a big role on the defense. But we'll see what it looks like when the pads go on. We'll see what like guys like Genty do, and see some of these receivers that are starting on the outside, like a Thornton. Does he hold up well? That's gonna be big. Does Jack Besh kind of like start making more plays? I think he's kind of getting. I think they made a comment about how even Brock Bowers even said it. Like, he said his head was spinning during camp to learn this offense. And they made and I heard comments about how like it's a complicated offense. So
it is complicated.
Yeah, so that's another thing too as well. So guys like maybe Jack Besh are probably kind of getting to the they're probably getting used to playing in this type of system. A guy like Genty, who played like in a pro style offense, I think has been doing well as far as like him kind of like getting used to the offense and stuff like that. But we'll see, man. We'll see.
I haven't heard much about. I haven't heard much about. Is that what the news was, that he's been adjusting well? I heard they want to use him a lot as a receiver, and they feel he'll be a weapon.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I heard about him. So I haven't heard anything positive or negative about him.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it as far as like he's kind of adjusted well to the playbook just because he played in a pro style offense in college, and then obviously you made a comment about him receiving out the backfield. I think that's like a big thing. So that's gonna be interesting, man. Like, I mean, let's over under. Are you taking the over under 500 yards receiving for Genty this year?
I'm gonna go under
because they're hyping it up a lot. I'm hearing it too much. Like, I'm hearing it from like the beat writers saying that they seen him lined up, like against like linebackers, and they're splitting him out wide. And then we're hearing Genty's like, I'm excited to utilize my receiving skills and yada yada yada. Like, are you taking the over or under 500 yards receiving?
I'm taking the under, but I think he'll be in the 4s. I mean, he's a guy. He can catch the ball. He played receiver in high school before playing running back. He can catch the ball. He didn't do it a lot last year at Boise State. Even a year before, he put up receiving numbers, but it wasn't like, a lot of it was like like kind of gimmicky stuff. So it wasn't like true receiving stuff. But he has it looks like he has soft hands. You kind of see the way he moves out there. Good change of direction. So we get him lined up against some linebackers, against some of these bigger, slower safeties. I think he can do some work. So I think he'll be in the 400s, like mid to low 400s. Like I said, my I need 1,600 yards, man. So I think like 1,200 rushing, like 400 something receiving. I think that puts him right there.
You know what's crazy? Like the whole offseason, we were wondering like who's going to start at linebacker, and now we kind of have like an idea of what the starting linebackers are going to look like. Now the question is who's going to start at D tackle? Like how the Raiders going to address D tackle? Like
it's gonna be Fatu and Adam Butler, I think.
But even then, like is it going to be a rotation of like them just switching out players, keeping them fresh, and like, you know, getting guys in there? Because like none of those guys are like really like top end starters. So like, do they deserve to play that many snaps? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I think Adam Butler is going to be the central figure. They've been saying great things about Laulu, so I think he'll see a lot of playing time. I think he's a guy that
said some good things, bro.
Yeah. And then Adam Butler and him, they worked really well in pass rush games last year. I think Laulu had like 1 or 2 sacks off stunts with Adam Butler as the pick man. So they obviously had some chemistry built in already. So I can see, you know, in like the heavier packages, we have a Fatu out there, and then in obvious passing situations, we bring in Lualu, or we bring in Zach Carter. I've been hearing good things about Eric Stokes too. They've been saying some really good things about Eric Stokes just in terms of like his talent. The Raiders really like him, and like Spy Tech said specifically, you know what, like this is the main thing with him. Like they think he was really good in Green Bay. It was just injuries that held him back, but that the Raiders have a plan to kind of mitigate the injury concerns and keep him healthy. So they didn't specify what the plan was, obviously, but you know, it was said from Spy Tech's mouth himself that the Raiders, they kind of, you know, have a plan already to make sure that he's able to stay healthy.
Man,
so
their plan is not to pay him a lot of money, so they won't have to.
So it don't matter like, if he is bad.
Exactly, and you know what, and then also, and that's another position group too, is cornerback. The outside corners right now so far are Darian Porter and Eric Stokes, and you know, Jacorian Bennett is kind of looking from the outside, like as far as like. He's that kind of like that. He's been running with the second team, but it's kind of surprising because how well he kind of played last year to begin the season. And I know Patrick Graham is the same defensive coordinator, so he knows the type of player that he is. So we'll see how that shakes out. If one of those guys, like that's going to be a battle to keep an eye on. And another thing too is that the nickelback situation is kind of strange, man. Like the way they're handling it it's weird, man. I know Jeremy Chin has been. Kind of been in that like guarding to whoever in the slot, and you know they talk about Jamal Adams as a guy like they want to put in the box, but he is also might be responsible whoever that inside guy is. That's gonna be interesting to see. But they said Darnell Holmes is a secondary option. They know that Darnell Holmes is not the answer at nickelback, so that's why they're going about it this way and trying to find creative ways. So I don't know. Maybe the answer might not be right now until they sign somebody who gets cut, you know, before the season starts. So we'll see. We'll see, man. But I don't think pads go on until next week. They have a practice tomorrow and Sunday. The next 2 practices will be tomorrow and Sunday, Saturday. There'll be a break, and obviously next week they'll have like their first padded practice. So that's gonna be huge. It's gonna be big. But yeah, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in at this point, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, great show, great conversation. Raiders always keep it interesting, good or bad. You know, Christian Wilkins, once again, he was released. The Raiders do not want to pay that $35 million of guaranteed money. We'll keep an eye on that as time goes on. They're going to have a hearing and they're going to decide if the Raiders are going to be on the hook for that. And we're going to see if anybody picks up Christian Wilkins. I think he's going to be free to sign. Is he going to go through the waiver wire, or is he automatically a free agent? I don't know. I think it's one of the other.
I think he goes through the waiver wire.
He does go waiver wire? Okay, we'll see.
No. He doesn't, because I think he'll be fine, because I think he's gotten a certain number of accrued like seasons. So no, he shouldn't go through the waiver wire, I don't believe.
Yeah, man. Appreciate everybody pulling up. We'll be back here next week. 50-50 show next Tuesday. Tune in around the shield next week. We'll make sure to have a guest next week. And yeah, man, just tune in. And Severe, man, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
You guys know what it is, man. The Severe Raider here on YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, IG, X, Kick, Twitch, everything. True Social, everywhere. the Severe Raider. Tuesdays, man, my dog PharoahNFL, the world famous 50-50 show. Obviously Thursday, y'all tuning in right now around the shield. Also on Tuesday, the Raider War Room, my brothers Chris from Protect the Shield and 805 Raider. Also rocking out with them on Sunday as well. So make sure y'all tap in with your boy. Hit that like button, subscribe, and if you enjoyed what you saw today, share with some of your Raider friends or some football fans. You know, we talk about everything. You know, share it.
There you go. Yeah, man. Make sure to follow us all over social media. Obviously, you'll see the names on the screen, man. PharoahNFL, the Severe Raider. But Around the Shield on X and on IG as well. Give that a follow. We're trying to grow that. We appreciate everybody supporting the show, pulling up. If you're watching a replay, or if you have any thoughts that we didn't get a chance to, go over some of the messages in the comment section, man. A night crew pulling up, we appreciate it. But make sure to leave a comment after the show ends, man. Leave a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts, what you disagree with. I know you disagree with us. If you agree with us, let us know. If you disagree with us, or if something that we didn't get a chance to talk about, let us know. And we do read the comments, so we appreciate everybody leaving a comment and supporting the show and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, any last thoughts before we head out, Severe?
Nah, like Pharaoh said, man, just make sure y'all get in the comment section, man. You know, I do be sniping folks though, man. So if y'all, you gotta say something, because I know y'all disagree with me. It was cool. Yeah, I got something to say in the comment section. You know, you be expecting that, that sniper rifle.
Yeah, man. All right, man. We up out of here, man. We'll see y'all next week, man. Peace.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.